So we're live?
Welcome to the Ringers NBA Draft Lottery Live Show, presented by State Farm. Get an agent that gets you. My name is Chris Ryan. I am joined by Jason Concepcion and Shea Serrano, our draft experts.
Yes!
And in the back, Statler and Waldorf, it's Jonathan Tjarks and Kevin O'Connor. Actually, they're our experts. We're just here to ease you into the draft lottery process. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Anytime you can get a bunch of people nervously gripping rabbit's feet and watching their franchises go up in smoke because of an envelope, I'm in. Tonight, just to give you a little bit of a basic scenario, the Phoenix Suns have the best chance to win the number one overall pick. They have a 25% chance. Next up is Memphis with a 19.9% chance. After that, Jonathan's Dallas Mavericks. Shout out to Gallagher. Shout out to all our Mavs fans. Shoemaker. And then the Atlanta Hawks with a 13.7% chance. But the Atlanta Hawks have something going for them tonight, Jason.
Jamie Gertz, famed actress of the 80s and early 90s, will be representing the Atlanta Hawks today. I first became aware of her work in Crossroads, the movie where Karate Kid's Ralph Macchio hits the road to play blues guitar.
And Steve Vai is also in that movie.
Steve Vai, who you may know if you're from Long Island.
So half the Ringer staff know him. We've got Jamie Gertz in the building from Lost Boys and Twister. Shea, do you think that we should start introducing celebrity avatars for each team at the lottery?
Ooh.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think they should exclusively be drawn from Hollywood 80s movies?
Only, yes, mid-'80s to mid-'90s.
Yeah,
that's
like
all you get to pick.
The blonde guy from Die Hard. You know, any 80s movie, we should get character actors in there, have them on stage for this lottery. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on and what's at stake here. Because one of the interesting things when you look at the odds here is how many teams lose 5 or 6% of a chance of getting the number one pick because they lost one or two less games than the team above them.
It's fantastic.
And it's just like, you know, we talk a lot about tanking and how it affects the end of the season, but you could kind of make a case that maybe Atlanta should have tanked a little harder here.
They tried, didn't they? Kind of?
Yeah.
I mean, tanking, listen, as a Knicks fan, the wins late in the season when Porzingis was out will haunt me and my dreams for the rest of my life. As will many.
Yeah, props to Rick Carlisle. Like, the last 4 games are losses.
Yeah.
That's good coaching right there.
Yeah, and he's like Dirk, all of a sudden, we have to sit him down, and all sorts of injuries are happening, and, you know, this guy, who I don't even know, you have to go see his mom or something.
Berea had personal issues.
Right.
They said personal, literally.
Nerlens is eating hot dogs at
it's
halftime.
like, everybody's got to sit because of various
Actually, they're
reasons.
playing Nerlens. They're like, we got to lose these games.
That's true. What do you think about, like, are you feeling like you're kind of over-tanking at this point? Like, you just are... I mean, you're a Spurs fan. You guys only tank for Tim Duncan.
Yeah. We didn't tank for Tim Duncan. There's no way you can convince me David Robinson did something amoral. There's no way.
Yeah.
He was hurt for real.
Kevin, do you think when you're looking at this list of teams, do you think there's any team in here who's probably looking at their chances now and are saying, God, I wish we lost 5 more games?
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
They have the 7th best odds right now after losing the coin toss to the Chicago Bulls. They're a team that, like, they don't have their pick next year, Chris.
This is so big for them.
Yeah, this is huge.
Right.
And they only have one more chance to draft another unskilled 7+ foot guy. So it's essentially they
no one's
hit
ever
this.
heard of.
Guys, if you want to jump in and want to ask questions of anybody here, talk about the draft lottery, talk about the draft, talk about the playoffs, hashtag RingerNBA for your questions, your constructive criticism. It would not be a Ringer audio video product if we were not talking about the Celtics. And the Celtics and the Sixers loom over this draft. Now, I obviously have a vested interest in the Sixers getting the number 1 pick, but it would make me incredibly happy if we could avoid the Celtics getting the replacement for Al Horford in Jaren Jackson in the number 2 pick.
Al Horford's so good. Have you heard about it?
We're not talking enough about what Al Horford does.
Versatile player.
And here's the thing that nobody's talking about.
I love the way he sets screens.
What about the job Brad Stevens is doing?
It's amazing.
And Jason Tatum is only 20.
I didn't know that. I thought he was like 34.
I mean, he played a lot more than 4.
Listen, Jason Tatum needs to change his number to 19. De-retire Don Nelson's number, because what did he ever do except hit that one shot that nobody cares about? And Jason Tatum should be number 19.
Can we retire his number now? What I want to talk about, though, is what's at stake here for the Celtics. Because they could set themselves up for like basically like a 5 to 10 year dynasty. They could
fantastic.
actually be in a point, and Zach and Bill talked about this on Zach's podcast, on the Zach Lowe podcast, about this idea that you're almost at the point now where it's like, do we really want to max out Kyrie if we've got this team like this?
All I'm saying is Terry Rozier is playing great. He's extremely cheap.
He's got a good brand.
They got him locked up for a little while. He's very cheap, and he knows what shape the Earth is. I'm just saying that.
If Kyrie's healthy, you max him out, no question. If he's not healthy, that's a whole totally different story. But he is a far superior player than Terry Rozier.
I'm here for
ring a bell?
We were told to bring it down if we had a really interesting.
That was for fact-checking purposes, not just for Boston Homer purposes.
I've got a take. I say let's get some bad chemistry going. Let's talk up Kyrie, talk up Tatum. They need the ball more often. Break this team up right now.
I know. When's the
Where's Tony Braxton? Get this team broken up.
Shea, how are you feeling about the Celtics these days?
I love them. They're my favorite team. As long as they're good, I feel like we all have good job security. So like, go Celtics.
I wonder if we would have started the ringer if Boston sports sucked.
There's no chance.
Yeah.
They were middling at the time, but stockpiling, assets.
So let's talk about Danny Ainge's draft warfare.
Boo.
The Brooklyn trade that delivered a washed Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
What a day.
And a washed Jason Terry.
And
let's
a
not
washed
forget.
Jason Terry that opened the floodgates for Danny Ainge to start accumulating all these picks. Kevin,
Yeah.
what is like the war chest looking like right now?
They could have 4 first-round picks next year.
Who even needs that?
Who needs
They
it?
don't. They're probably the last team who needs it.
Right.
But they could conceivably have their own pick, the Clippers pick if they make the playoffs, Memphis pick, top 8 protected, then the Kings pick is top 1 protected. So they could have the ammo to, again, do whatever they want
It's
again next
disgusting.
season.
They're just too greedy, honestly.
Tell me a little bit about how you feel about Danny Ainge's draft warfare.
It makes me physically ill. Just the fact that they were able to, they really only bottomed out for 1 year,
I know.
and then they rebuilt on the fly. So smart the way they got. It sickens me to say this, but they got a coach that they were going to stick with, that they knew could instill a culture, who got these kind of raggedy pieces to play together, while every deal is like returning picks. And I think they've really built on the strategies that Hinkie and Daryl Morey have pushed forward over the last few years. Frankly, it makes me feel terrible.
to me, like, the Celtics captured like the ultimate best case scenario of bailing out from your aging stars before it's way too late. If they
this is
waited
the
one more
dream.
year, there's no way they would have gotten a deal even close to that.
This just doesn't feel like there's any sports karma anymore. They get rid of all the guys who won the title in 2008.
Yeah.
And then they get rid of Isaiah, and now we're sitting here and they've
There
got
never
like
was,
all-stars
man.
for the next
It's
10
a
years.
business.
Shouts to Billy King wherever you are in witness protection for making that trade with the Celtics when he was GM of the.
Now we have this
Brooklyn Nets.
Lakers pick that is up for grabs. So if the Sixers get the first pick, they have this Lakers pick. If it's the first pick, the Sixers keep it. If it's the 2 or 3, correct, which is the only one mathematically it could be if it goes up, the Celtics get it. And then from 6 through 30, I believe it's protected.
But
for
the
Sixers.
odds are like really, it's like 10% odds even. It's lower than that. even.
2.9% that Boston would get the pick tonight.
Okay. But, crazier things have happened. They're saying there's a chance. And if that's the case, let's just play a little bit of a game here with this. And this Lakers pick is fascinating because of the people that it's included. This is a pick that was first traded to the Suns in 2012 in the Nash sign-in trade. It has involved Brandon Knight and Kendall Marshall and the Rookie of the Year, Michael Carter-Williams.
There's a lot of dead careers in the past.
Tyler Ennis,
A lot of
Miles
tombstones.
Plumlee. And then in a various amount of steps, it came back to the Sixers, and then it was a part of the Fultz deal that netted the Celtics Jason Tatum. But
Who's just 19.
let's talk a little bit about who needs this pick the most, Shea. Who do you think that needs the number 1 pick the most, needs to save their franchise on the number 1 pick?
You know who I'm rooting for? Phoenix. I really like the idea of Phoenix being good for a couple of different reasons. Number 1, just because they're terrible right now.
Yeah.
They haven't been to the playoffs since 2010. Something like that, which is out of the bottom 5 teams, they have the longest streak going. But also, I really like the idea of if they get that first pick and then they pick like Ayton. You go there, and then you've got a new version of Stoudemire and Nash, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then I like the idea of them getting good and winning, and then the Rockets and Mike D'Antoni having to watch them get good.
That would be amazing.
That made me feel so good. That's why I'm rooting for them.
Who do you guys, and we also have a poll up right now, I believe, on Twitter, where you guys can vote for who needs the number one overall pick the most. Jason, who are you going to go with?
Listen, all of you within the sound of my voice. The New York Knicks need the top pick. They have a 1 point something chance of getting the number one pick, but they need it. That just shows
1.7.
1.7. It just shows you how desperately they do need it. They need this, guys. It has to happen. And I have promised to eat a bag of edibles if it does happen. They just, listen, the Knicks have been trying to find a point guard for 18 years.
You guys got like 3. You got the resurrection of Trey Burke now.
Is he resurrected? He's a zombie Trey Burke. Trey Burke is a poor man's Allen Iverson, and Allen Iverson himself is a poor man's Allen Iverson right now. We need players. We need like top level players. Kristaps Porzingis is injured. I hope he can maintain his health over the rest of his career. We just need a guy. We need a guy. Please, the Knicks need this. James Dolan is our owner. Help us!
Fizdale can make anything work, whether you guys get the number one pick. I think so, man. Don't forget data. One thing that I think we got to
Why couldn't he make it work with Marc Gasol?
Give a special shout out to Chris Vernon and the Memphis Grizzlies, because these guys don't have their pick next year. They don't have their first round pick next year, am I right?
It's protected. So
it's protected.
Top 8 protected.
Right, top 8 protected.
They're going to try to
They're
win.
in danger,
so,
right?
Yeah.
And so I just think that this team has got such a great fan base, especially when it's winning. It's got such a rocking atmosphere there at the Pyramid. And like, I would just love to see a Luka Doncic go there, play alongside Mike Conley. I feel like if Mike Conley's going to be on the Grizzlies, I want him to have a good team. You could also make an argument that the Hawks would be nice to see them rebuild a little bit. They've got Jamie Gertz involved.
Jamie Gertz.
And as a huge fan of Lost Boys, I'm pulling for her tonight. What would be the worst case scenario tonight?
Oh my God.
And this could be like a personal thing. So Shea, do you have like a worst case scenario of what happens tonight?
I have best case scenario, but for worst case, the worst case, it doesn't involve any of the teams. Honestly, we're talking about Atlanta and I don't care about those teams.
Yeah.
So for me, my worst case scenario doesn't have anything to do with them. My worst case scenario is that the Spurs somehow don't get Sexton, who I'm really that's who we need. We need that point guard. And we have the 18th pick this year.
Yeah.
And he could fall to 18. I feel like if we don't get him, then I'm going to be very, very sad.
So you want Sexton?
Yes.
And it's just like Operation Get Sexton. That's the worst case scenario.
That's our new Tony Parker.
You might need to trade Kawhi to get Sexton.
Trade him.
Here we are. Let's go to the Kawhi trade. I want to hear this.
Let's do a quick Kawhi gut check. How are you feeling about Uncle Dennis and everybody involved?
I'm excited for when the Spurs trade Kawhi to the Celtics for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And we rebuild from there.
Wow, that is actually pretty exciting. Jason, what do you think would be the worst case scenario tonight?
Listen, I think I'm risking my job security, but the Celtics, it's an embarrassment of riches right now.
Yeah.
What if they get the number one pick?
No, they can only get two.
I know. What if they get a top? What if they get the 2 through the 3, and then freaking somebody else in Brooklyn gets the number one pick, and I have to watch this for the next 10 years? I can't.
Who do they take if they get the second pick?
Let's ask these guys.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Are they getting?
Yeah.
They need a big guy, right? They need a big
it
guy.
would be like Jaren Jackson or DeAndre Ayton, one of those two, I think.
Yeah, to me,
Maybe
Jackson
Bamba.
makes a lot of sense as an Al Horford replacement down the line.
Not
I
Luka,
think
because
he
is
needs-
Luka too duplicative of what they already have?
Luka's great, but they could use a long-term big, I think.
I mean,
it's an embarrassment of riches.
I've spent 11
How about
minutes
Bamba?
watching Luka Doncic.
He would be a good
That's
pick.
more than enough to
Yeah.
have picks,
So I feel
Chris.
like I have
You're
a
an
lot.
expert then.
My worst case scenario tonight would be that the Sixers get the number one pick and that Brian Colangelo trades it. Because I don't trust Brian Colangelo trading draft picks.
Has that ever happened before?
No, I mean, I think that I'm imagining that I'm going to wake up any moment now, and then we're going to draft the number 3. We're going to take
think-
Fultz at 3 and not have given up another draft
He
pick for
drafted
it.
Bargnani and Fultz, the 2 number 1 overall picks. I
Shut up! Nobody asked you.
When you wake up to the Eagles still win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The dream starts the day after the Super Bowl.
That's a resume.
What's that?
Team most likely to have the lottery rigged for them.
Cleveland. Cleveland has been the repeat number 1 pick winner over the last few years, and I feel like it would
Wait,
just
how
be
about
LeBron insurance.
Chicago? They're a high-profile team. They could use a top pick. That's riggable.
So, do you guys think Chicago would be? Chicago. Interesting. Who do you think would be the most likely to have it rigged for them?
It's got to be Cleveland. I'm gonna go with you because they don't want LeBron to leave Cleveland.
Right.
New York.
The Knicks?
They've given up on the Knicks. The
You
NBA has given up on them.
I think the thing I'm worried about for Cleveland is that they stay where they are. They have like the number 7 or 8 pick or whatever it is, and that LeBron is like the way Trae Young looks out there, just the same way he did with Shabazz Napier, and he talks Kobe Altman into drafting Trae Young, and then he's like, actually, peace out, Brentwood coming up next, and they draft Trae Young, and they're like, what are we doing? Not like we haven't seen that before. One thing I want to talk to you about, okay, so that's the worst case scenario.
Okay.
And #RingerNBA if you have any questions. We're going to have a lot of different stuff going on. We're going to be with you throughout the draft lottery, and then we're going to do a mock draft later. But Shea, what do you think would be the best case scenario here?
I'm going to play off of what you were just saying. I think LeBron talks Cleveland into getting Trae Young.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's built for this NBA.
Yeah.
And he's the new Kyrie or the new Steph. Ooh. And he's got that guy alongside him now. That's best case scenario, really, because then LeBron doesn't have to leave. And then you've got this, all of a sudden they're reinvigorated. They're going to win for the next 5 years, we know. We're good to go.
Jason, what about you? Best case scenario?
You know what? Luka Doncic to the Sixers would be fun.
Yeah.
They need a guy who can create, and can shoot desperately, as we've seen over the last several weeks. Just the fact that you couldn't help but watch them against the Celtics and go, man, if Fultz was the guy who he's supposed to be, imagine. It would be fun to watch a guy like that with a young core. It'd just be incredible. That would be really fun.
We have an actually interesting question from social. Mr. Green 22 asks, how much will NBA teams adjust their #draft strategy based on the trends that are working in the playoffs? Switchy wings, ball dominant guards are mostly ineffective. What do you guys think? Is there anything you're seeing in the playoffs that will provide like a template for the way people will draft?
I think we already know that 3-and-D wings are highly valued and that they're necessary to defend in today's NBA. I think the question is are you going to overdraft some of those guys? Maybe you're thinking that they can turn into that, and you end up making a mistake passing on a good point guard or a good traditional big man just for the chance of getting a versatile player. You still need to evaluate the independent player.
I think that's the thing is I think the top 6 picks, there's 4 big men going there. It's how valuable is it in the modern NBA to take traditional big man, and who's going to will any of those guys fall because teams want wings instead?
So, is that a case against someone like a Mikal Bridges, who I think has I think people are looking at and they're like, oh, that's like a prototypical NBA wing. He can shoot from outside. He can play a little defense. He's got experience at Villanova. But is that somebody who might be overvalued because of the way the trends are going?
I think so. I mean, I know you and I, Tjarks, we evaluate him a little bit differently. I think he's almost 22 already. He's
washed.
I don't
washed
think
at 22.
Already.
I don't think he's quite as good defensively as he's touted as, despite his length. But that's the thing. It's are you overdrafting a guy hoping he turns into something that he's actually not? When in actuality, maybe you should be targeting those guys in the late first round or the second round, where, quite frankly, a lot of those players end up coming from anyway.
Well, I think the tough thing with Mikal Bridges, you're seeing in these playoffs, Trevor Ariza, Robert Covington. If you can't create your own shot, there's a ceiling for you at this highest level of the game. So will Mikal be valuable? I don't know. That's why I like Miles Bridges a lot. He kind of fits all those things together.
Jason, what would be the funniest possible outcome tonight?
Oh, God. It's probably Brian Colangelo trading the pick again.
Yeah.
Right? It would have to be. It's been such a it's really one of the most fateful moments in recent NBA history that looms bigger and bigger as we go on.
Chris isn't laughing.
It's not funny,
I'm actually I'm having the white guy blinking meme is happening right now.
I mean, what if he does it again? What if he does it again?
Here's the thing. I know that it was a bad trade. It is obviously he got fleeced. He probably could have waited to 3. Ainge just straight up fleeced him. But I get why he did it.
I get it too. I mean, it really is one of those things where, with hindsight,
I mean, who can predict, right? There
was nobody who was like, "Oh, Markelle Fultz is going to maybe have a mental freak out,
he was good.
rework his shot, and completely fall off the map." No one thought that.
Here's the thing, right? Fultz is still a good prospect. We saw that this season. He does everything except for shoot. But
that's a big thing, Kevin.
But what I'm getting at What I'm getting at is Boston was also on the Fultz train until they brought him in. Then it was suddenly, okay, it's our 1B guy.
Here's what I didn't like. Do you remember during the draft process and the Celtics put up those pictures of Fultz like staring at photos of Celtics legends about to take his place among Kuzi and DJ and Rondo and all the great Celtics point guards? And it was just all a rope-a-dope to get Colangelo mouthwatering to trade that pick. It was what a public propaganda move by him. Shea, what do you think is the funniest thing that could happen tonight?
I'm still very much like only interested in talking about LeBron.
Let's talk about LeBron.
I think the funniest thing that happens is he does talk them into taking whoever he wants. I think that the trade, we'll stick with Trae Young since we talk about that. He gets them to take Trae Young. Trae Young shows up. LeBron that night gets on the phone to Danny Ainge and he was like, hey, I want to come to Boston. Send Kyrie back to Cleveland.
That's what I'm wondering. That's a great idea.
Send Kyrie back to Cleveland.
That'd be the most cold-blooded thing in the world.
And then Kyrie has to look at like the younger version of himself. And then LeBron just posts something on Instagram with like just a calendar picture of the day when Kyrie left. And that's it. And that's all he does. That to me is the best, funniest thing.
Kevin, if you were in Boston, would you do it? Would you trade LeBron for Kyrie now?
Yeah.
I don't know if they would want LeBron.
If you were Boston.
This is why Celtics fans is like, it's impossible. It's freaking impossible. I don't know, LeBron, he's 33.
This is every day of my life.
I mean, do you want Horford or LeBron? It's really like one of those things where...
You know what we're not talking about, though?
What?
We're just not talking about Al Horford enough. Have you ever seen Al Horford set a screen?
Beautiful.
It's
It
really
was
work
a
of
good
art.
piece. Shout out Jack McCluskey. Great piece tonight in the Ringer about Al
It's
Horford.
funny, Sixers fans keep making fun of Horford, but they could really use a guy that does all those little things like that.
Man,
We got plenty of dudes who set screens. We didn't have anybody who could make a shot. That was like the problem. Got Amir Johnson if I need a guy to set a high screen. You guys, we have a couple of questions coming in from social that I'm just going to throw out there. Udia Thorne asks if the Cavs Brooklyn pick, if that wins the lottery, is that Adam Silver's way of keeping LeBron in Cleveland or making it okay for LeBron to leave?
I feel like LeBron would tell him to trade the pick. Like if they get that one, he says trade for Kawhi or somebody.
Do you think LeBron would say trade the pick?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think
I think he would. I think Maverick would say trade the pick, and LeBron would actually not say anything, but he would have called Maverick and told him to tell him to trade the pick.
Would you trade the number one pick for Kawhi, though?
Ooh.
I mean, if it keeps LeBron, yeah, but what if you end up losing both those guys the following summer anyway, and then you don't have a guy for 8 years that's only 20
There's no
years old?
situation where you trade the pick. I think if you're...
Well, I think if LeBron says he'll stay, you do it. I mean, LeBron's LeBron.
He won't say that.
He's not
though.
going to say it.
He won't say it. There's no situation where you
It's
trade
a
it.
special arrangement kind of.
Yeah.
Louis 101 wants to know, would any Ringer staff members be willing to let Shea Serrano and his Spurs trade you LaMarcus Aldridge for a top 5
No, I don't
pick?
want to trade LaMarcus.
Wow, he turns
LaMarcus is my
around.
guy. LaMarcus was there when we needed him.
Spur for life.
Spur for life.
No quad injuries. No
right.
Uncle Dennis.
No
No New
Uncle
York
Dennis.
trips.
He was there.
He was there.
He showed up.
In that time of trial and need. Who was there?
That's when you find out who you need.
He got him
around
to
you.
45 wins in the time of. It was great.
You guys, I want to know who's Sergio Jr. wants to know who is the dark horse for the number 1 pick, a la Tatum if the Celtics had stayed away. Like who's like we're seeing a lot of Aiden, we're seeing a lot of Luka, but who's the dark horse? For
Michael Porter, if he like just totally impresses in workouts.
18-year-old with a bad back, number 1 bullet.
I don't think he will be, but like if he kills it, if there's a team that really values him 6'10" with his scoring ability, why not?
Backs always get better.
Yeah, especially when you're young and tall.
If we know anything, backs get better.
As you get older, the back gets stronger.
You know who's secret? Who's the
That's
dark,
Tracy McGrady.
Yeah.
dark horse number 1? Mo Bamba.
Oh,
That's the guy.
Texas guy.
Is that dark,
That's
though?
the guy. Somebody's gonna look at him and start whispering like, "That's the next Kevin Durant." That's gonna happen. in
I
the
saw
next
that
few
one
weeks.
dunk where he fully leapt over someone, and I was like, that's the
And
number.
he can shoot.
Yeah.
He can shoot.
Kinda.
It's working. He's working on it.
Theoretically,
Top Gun of Pizza wants to know, and this is a special one
Top
for
Gun of
Jason.
Pizza?
Can you think of a player who is already washed coming into the draft?
Trae Young.
How dare
Damn.
you?
Oh, we got a bunch of Oklahoma alumni in the back. What happened there?
He started to look kind of washed towards the end of the season, and I wonder if it continues. He's still washed.
Jason could be right. What if that first half of the season was the peak of his career in
What if
terms
that
of
was
the
it?
hype, in terms of the excitement?
Yeah. We have a poll, by the way. Which guard coming into this draft is going to have the best NBA career? I'm a little for some reason I'm a Sexton skeptic.
Ooh.
Are you?
Yeah,
I'm with you on that, Chris.
I don't know why.
Is it because he has a name like a British folk singer?
Yeah, it's because I think he got killed off on season 3 of Downton Abbey. That's right. Lord Sexton.
Lord Sexton.
Do you guys you have any favorites outside of Sexton? Trey, you think is washed? Sexton,
Those are my two guys.
not a great guard draft.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for the guy from Kentucky, Shea Alexander. He's an interesting prospect. He's very big. He can play basketball, play multiple positions.
That's a key. I mean, you want to play
Can you
basketball.
shoot?
You don't have to
Can you
actually be able to shoot, but
Right.
if you can play
Can
basketball.
you play basketball?
Some
All
of
right,
these guys
come
don't
on.
know how to play basketball. He does.
Guys, we're coming up on the actual lottery programming, so we're gonna take a quick break and present a quick little bit we did called Best Fit, which is presented by State Farm. Make sure you get an agent that gets you. And when we're coming back, we'll just narrate along with these lottery picks. So we'll be right back after this. Welcome to Best Fit, presented by State Farm. Get an agent who gets you. My name is Chris Ryan. I'm an editor at TheRinger.com, and I'm joined by the Ringer draft expert, Kevin O'Connor. Kevin, we're going to talk about best fits for a couple of the top NBA prospects in the upcoming NBA draft. We're a week out from the lottery. So the first guy I wanted to talk about was Trae Young. Where do you think the best fit for Trae Young is?
Cleveland, with LeBron or not. No matter what LeBron does, I think Trae Young would give them what they missed last season without Kyrie Irving, that dynamic scorer.
So a guy who can play on the ball, who can maybe come off the ball and shoot if LeBron's handling. Do you think Trae Young's game is going to translate to the NBA? That's a big question mark.
Yeah, I think, if he were playing alongside LeBron, obviously LeBron takes the pressure off of everybody else, so that would really take away from some of the maybe limitations people worry about with Trae Young. But the scoring, the shooting, that's not really much of a concern. It's about what he becomes in the defensive end, which probably isn't going to be much, but the offense is there.
All right, I can feel Jordan Clarkson getting nervous. The next guy we're going to talk about is DeAndre Ayton, who a lot of people think is going to go number 1 overall. Where do you think the best fit for him would be?
I like Phoenix for him.
Stay at home, okay.
I think for him and Devin Booker, you'd have a really dynamic duo. Booker is a great perimeter scorer who has gotten better at getting to the rim. DeAndre Ayton suddenly would give him a dynamic big man who can score from the inside, can shoot threes potentially, and maybe if he works it out on the defensive end of the floor, starts trying, could be good on that end too.
So all those other stretchy guys that Phoenix have, Bender, Chris, Alex Len, just still putting in work. What happens to those guys if DeAndre shows up?
I think they can all fit together. I do. I think maybe you can play smaller. You can put Bender at the 4, or maybe take Ayton out of the game, put him at the 5.
Okay.
I think you can play with a versatile, switchy team with those types of guys they have.
All right, last but very much not least, the guy who I think everybody is most curious about in this draft, Luka Doncic. Where do you see him best fitting?
He could fit anywhere.
Really?
Honestly.
He's that good?
Yeah, he's that good because he can pass, he can shoot off the dribble, he can shoot off the catch. He's high IQ, he plays hard on defense, can rebound. He can literally do anything at 6'8". In today's modern league with positionless basketball, I think Doncic would be fit anywhere.
All right, but if you had to pick one place for him to go, where do you think it would
How
be?
about Memphis?
Why not? Memphis has been starving for another star. What do you think?
I think he could really, help along this older core with Marc Gasol and Mike Conley, and then once those guys fade away, part of a new era for the Memphis Grizzlies.
This has been Best Fit, presented by State Farm. Get an agent who gets you. 5.
Extremely nervous.
Hey, welcome back to the Ringers NBA Draft Lottery Live Show, presented by State Farm. Get an agent that gets you. I'm Chris. This is Tjarks, Kevin O'Connor, Jason Concepcion, Shea Serrano. We are back to walk you through the NBA Draft Lottery. They're going to start opening envelopes soon. Tjarks, do you have?
I have a complaint to register.
You're like the ombudsman.
There's no Dallas talk, the number 3 team, this liberal media out here. Let's talk about Texas team. We need to be talking about the Mavs.
Let's do it. Dallas Mavericks Breitbart. Let's get into it. What is?
Okay, so a couple of days ago, Cuban said Harrison Barnes could be DeMar DeRozan.
Is that
I'm
really
supposed
a
to be
goal?
excited about that? I need a good player here. Come on.
How did he say that? Did he say that aspirationally?
No, he said maybe could be that eventually. That's the best case scenario for Mavs fans. Is we have the next
terrifying.
tomorrow. Isn't that sad? Man?
That is sad. What do you think? What can the Mavs do here?
They can win the lottery and draft a good player.
They can go to hell.
And this is why I didn't want to bring them up, because I didn't want to tear the room
San Antonio
apart.
Dallas is a good rivalry.
Can you think of anything sadder than this Texas inter-Texas beef?
It was hot once, like in the
Yeah, it's
early
been a while.
2000s. Remember
Yeah.
that time? Now it's
Yeah, Michael Finley versus
Yeah.
Tim Duncan
Yao
versus
Ming, when his feet were like all in one piece.
That's right.
I had hair. I was in high school. It's a long time ago.
We're hanging out here just to go through the lottery. They'll start announcing names. I thought maybe we could spend a little time talking about the NBA playoffs, though, while we're waiting for them to dial it up. Tonight, we have Celtics, Cavs, Game 2, and we just saw the Warriors play basically as good as you can play the
That was
sport
savage,
last
man.
night.
Yeah.
Of those two series, which one do you think has like some other chapters to be written, and which one do you think is a wrap?
I think both are essentially a wrap.
Damn.
I think that I just think LeBron can. I think LeBron has another gear that he can go to.
Yeah, there's still LeBron.
There's still LeBron, so there's always the chance that something incredible can happen. But like, the Warriors took Houston's soul.
They
last
did.
night.
They took their heart, man.
Yeah,
That was
it-
vicious.
There could be a lot of chapters in the Boston-Cleveland series.
think so?
We'll see what type of adjustments happen tonight to
LeBron
Boston
definitely
switching.
performatively arrived at the gym early today.
Oh yes,
LeBron's always
It's important to
performing.
do that.
Yeah. Do you believe in a like if you're gonna make a big public showing of showing up at the gym early, you gotta win.
No, you don't have to win.
Did you make it a public showing?
You can't,
LeBron's
I
always
can't
making
show
the
up
media do
at
it.
work at
But
5
LeBron
a.m.
knew
and
they
then
would
not
do
do
it.
good blogs.
You know what I would do is I would performatively go to the post office and fill out a change of address for the gym.
Yeah.
And be like, I live here now. I'm sleeping here.
Yeah, get a California driver's
That's it.
license. Yeah.
This is where I live.
Well,
until we
LeBron's
win.
going to put 40 points tonight easily. Like, he's going to have to put up huge numbers.
Yeah, but that's not, the problem isn't what LeBron's going to do. LeBron's going to perform. The problem is,
everybody
like,
else.
where's he going to get help, right?
The problem is Jeff Green is a person.
need
He
another-
plays basketball.
He needs, like, George Hill to have a great game or something.
And that could happen.
Jason, you're starting to make me feel bad for Jeff Green.
You know who doesn't feel bad for Jeff Green, though? Anybody who's ever had to cheer for a team that Jeff Green's been on.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of money.
He has made a lot of money.
DMV like legend, right? I know he was on the Hoyas. I appreciate, and every year he gets one poster dunk. That's amazing.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, we got to get this guy. Hey,
Yeah.
sign
That's
him
how
up.
I mean, he made $15 million last year. What a country we
I
live
know
in.
it's amazing.
It's like in remember that video game with Sonic when he would like almost die?
Yeah,
And then get an air bubble?
Thank God.
That's the dunk. That's a Jeff Green dunk.
Hashtag Ringer NBA if you want to jump in right now on the draft broadcast on ESPN. We're seeing DeAndre Ayton, presumptive number one pick, I guess. Right now, we drafted tonight.
I don't think there is one.
I think him and
We'll
Luke
see.
are fighting for it right now.
yeah.
Him and Luka are fighting for it.
Is it more of a fit thing, or what do you think? How would you draft if you guys could draft? Would you draft for fit, or would you draft for talent?
I guess
I mean,
it
you draft the
depends.
best player
At one, I think you take the
regardless.
best player. I think I'd go with Luke, though.
I think you do have to consider fit a little bit, to an extent. You know,
this is-
not to a great degree, but it depends. It does depend on the other pieces you have.
Isn't that kind of the curveball? Jason and I were talking about this earlier. Is it unprecedented to have this many really good to great teams involved in the lottery? Cleveland, Boston, and to some extent Philly, all in that mix.
And by design, not even by
And
luck.
by design, but like also just like that's not, we're not talking about like Sacramento, Orlando,
Right.
drafting guys, continuing to fail, etc. This is like,
I'd hate to say it, but it's like the Len Bias thing in
Yeah.
Boston. It goes back to then. Or I guess when the
Orlando.
Darko thing. Remember
Darko,
the
yeah.
Darko
oh
thing?
right, that's right.
Orlando.
That's right.
When they Shaq and Chris Webber that became Penny.
But in a weird way, you can look back at that Darko pick, and even though the Pistons wound up winning the championship a couple of seasons later, you think they wouldn't rather have had, well, I don't know if they'd rather have Melo, but
Chris
you know,
Bosh, yeah.
But like Bosh, Wade, those guys who were available in that was the Wade draft too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so like Pistons would have loved to have had one of those guys for the 10 years after that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very rare in NBA history that a team that's won like 50 games has also had a top pick. No, the Lakers did it in the 80s with James Worthy and Magic Johnson. Celtics did with Len Bias, of course. Very few instances. Jaylen Brown, just a couple of years ago. It's not often, so we'll see what happens tonight if either of those teams win the lottery, but probably not happening. Some chance.
Apparently on social, people are evaluating you as a draft prospect because you have like this wingspan going.
I do have long arms. This is
What
true.
is your wingspan?
I'm probably like 6'6", 6'7".
Have you ever done your own measurables?
No, I'm guessing.
Emotionally, have you ever? You're guessing.
I don't need stats. That feels right to me.
Yeah, your best fit.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask about is like this has been a playoffs that has seen Ben Simmons play really well. Not really a rookie, but a rookie. Seen obviously Tatum, which I can't talk about anymore. Donovan Mitchell played really well. Anybody in this draft class that you wouldn't be surprised to see make a playoff impact?
Well, I mean, to me, like Luka right now is playing in the EuroLeague Final Four. Like he's 18. I mean, he could play on a good team. He could play right away for a good team for sure.
I think it really depends on who lands on a team like Philly, right? If they keep that 10th pick, which player are they drafting? A guy that's ready to play now, a Mikal Bridges type, a Miles Bridges type? Certainly someone like that. But for a team like the Kings, like no matter who they get, a team like the Suns even, unless they have a big offseason.
I guess Memphis. If Gasol's healthy, Conley's healthy, the guy they draft could be.
Maybe they sneak into the 7 or the 8 seed.
Yeah, well, there's a question from Tweets and More. What will I do, Chris Ryan, if the Sixers take Michael Porter? Because it would be yet another draft pick with a huge medical red flag. Although, Fultz did not have a red flag before whatever the late
He had a
summer
green
swoon
flag
was.
and he spray painted it red
Exactly,
over the summertime.
yeah. But
Unless he did.
I really, I have my good luck charm here,
Oh, that's
which
cool.
is a T-shirt with.
Why is there a cat on there?
It's because Ben Simmons has that slogan, "Raise the cat."
That's
Sharks,
deep-
you gotta stay up on
deep
this.
Philly-
Sharks.
Is that a
Deep
good
Philly
idea?
calling Sixers culture that.
Jason has a holy Bible.
Actually, that's actually mine.
Oh, that's
but
yours.
That's the Mavs.
I've co-opted it for my own purposes.
This is the Trinity. It's Clyde Frazier, Milton, and the Good Book, and that's hopefully gonna.
Shout out to the Gideons. Also the Bible.
I would say that I'm expecting the Sixers to wind up with Mikal Bridges. I have run the lottery simulator over 2,000 times, and I have never not gotten Mikal Bridges.
It makes sense. It fits perfectly with what they need.
That's what I'm assuming. We got a couple more questions as we're waiting for these guys to start pulling envelopes. Who will be the great underrated player that Golden State drafts this year?
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Eli Okobo.
Ooh.
Who's that?
Point guard.
Yeah, who's that?
That's like,
To me,
This is
that's my
KOC's
favorite
guy.
Velvet Underground record.
to me, you got like Trey Young, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Colin Sexton, like that point guard tier, but then not far behind is Okobo.
I
in my
need you
opinion.
to still tell me who he is.
He's a point guard.
Where's
should-
he from?
Shooting
but Kevin,
point
where's
guard,
he from?
Playing France right now. Shooting.
Oh, he's France.
He's
Okay.
really a score first point guard right now, who's learning how to play the position.
Is he better than Frank Nicotina?
I mean,
French point guard?
Ntilikina is already one of the best defensive point guards.
Okay.
in the
That's
NBA.
right. One of the best perimeter defenders in the league already.
Yeah.
He'll learn how to shoot. Can't have enough perimeter defenders.
We'll see. Hope he does, Jason.
Justin Christopher wants to know who's the best basketball player in the room right now. Who do you think it is?
Oh, me for sure.
I don't know if I.
100%.
Did you say? All right, let's see it. Shoot it.
100%.
Cash. Get that out of here.
Did I go in?
How would you describe your game?
I'm like a slower Vinny Del Negro.
But the coach Vinny Del Negro, not the player.
But the Chicago Bulls coach Vinny Del Negro version.
Chicago Bulls era coach Vinny Del Negro.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me.
Oh.
Right
no way I'm
now,
losing
we've
to
just got a
anybody
bunch of dogs facing off with an SUV. So that I don't think is a part of draft programming. But we're gonna get to it as soon as they start opening up envelopes. Tjarks, you used to ball a little bit. You still play?
I would say I'm like a slower Kyle Anderson.
Is anybody here willing to go
That's
out?
just not even
Are
moving.
you like a stretch four?
Yeah. I wanted to shoot threes, but I couldn't really do it. But I wanted to do it
So you're like
anyways.
a compressed four.
I would describe myself as a shorter, faster Mike Jaminski.
That's before my time. I don't know who that is.
I'm like washed up Glenn
Keith
Davis.
knows. You're what? What are you?
Big
Washed up
baby?
Glenn Davis.
Your big baby on the plane.
Little baby.
With the suitcase.
My guy Troy Fimbers from Twitter says, if the Suns get Ayton, what's the next move that should happen to start competing for a playoff spot? Are the Suns just an Ayton away from a playoff spot? No. Competitive West right now.
They need a point guard if they're going to be competitive right now.
So Booker
Remember when they
can't
had
play
three?
point.
Well, they need one.
They only won like 21 games last year, right?
Suns?
Yeah, I don't think Ayton gets you 30 more games.
No way.
So but do you think that the Suns are in a situation where they get Ayton, then they have these guys who are, shall we say, maturing? Bender, Chris.
Yeah.
How is Alex Len still like even on?
He won't be there
Like
next
we've
year.
talked about this. I feel like I'm on an island. I'm one of the only people who thinks Phoenix has like a really bright future if they hit this pick.
Well, they
With
do.
all the cap space, all the assets that they have, they're one of those teams that has future flexibility. But they need to nail this pick.
See, here's the other thing too: is like the GM McDonough, is his job on the line this year? Does he say, "I got to win right now to keep my job"?
Now it's on the line?
Yeah.
Because it feels like he's a dude who's
He's
almost-
gotten a lot of rope for sure.
Yeah.
But Sarver probably at some point will fire if they don't get good. Will be this year. I don't know how
I hope
much of a
Sarver
pressure
fires
is.
him and hires Shaq.
Unless Sarver is secretly happy with the rebuilds, with the development of some of the other guys. Devin Booker, they nailed with a late lottery pick. I'm just saying.
Sarver's been known to be impatient, so we'll see.
Yeah, he can be impulsive. Hashtag Ringer NBA if you want to send in questions, if you have any comments. We're just hanging out, waiting for them to start opening envelopes on the draft show.
One thing I was curious, Jason. So Luka's got a Bengal tiger tattoo. What's your take on that? That's a good sign?
It's a great sign. A tiger obviously is for its fierceness and ferocity, and that fiery guy.
Luka is?
Yeah.
He cusses out his teammates when they mess up.
Hanzo post new update is obviously more usable in the meta and a very skillful player.
What are we talking about?
It's Overwatch. Yeah, nobody wants to hear about
So
that.
here's a Luka story. So like in the EuroLeague playoffs I'm watching right now, he's 18 years old. He makes the bounce pass. The guy doesn't cut. He's like, cut! He's yelling at 30-year-old men, like cursing him out.
This is in the EuroLeague?
Yeah, in the playoffs.
Is it true that I read that Luka got a triple-double, and it was like the third time that had ever happened in the history of the EuroLeague?
It's been fun to watch. Like, he was.
Doesn't that say something more about the EuroLeague than it does about?
Well, for one thing, like EuroLeague teams don't play minutes that much. You just play 20, 25 minutes
It's like
tops
20,
in a game.
exactly. That's what it is. It's more minutes thing. So it does say something. It says that they just don't play their guys as much as they do.
So
in the
those
NBA.
the guys who come from Europe have like a higher propensity to hit a rookie wall then?
I don't know. We have to look at the numbers.
Maybe not.
Sounds like Luka
I mean,
Doncic doesn't have championship level mental toughness. That's
No,
all I'm saying.
I was just thinking how he does have mental toughness, Chris. He is maybe best in
You
the
know what's
draft.
funny? He's being guarded right now in the playoffs by Thanos Antetokounmpo. He was guarding him in the last round. Isn't that a
former
Is
Knicks
he in the
legend.
draft this year? Can we get another?
That's the younger one is in this draft.
Yeah.
Costas is in this draft.
Matthew Curley wants to know from KOC or Tjarks, can you see a scenario where our boy Jonte Porter
My boy, that's not KOC's.
rises
I'm
to
on
the late
I'm
lottery?
on Jonte Island.
I think he stinks.
I feel like I'm hosting Crossfire. This is awesome.
I'll say
Crossfire, but I don't know what we're talking
I'll
about.
put this out right now. Jonte could be better than Michael. He could be the best Porter in this draft. It's possible.
Can't defend, can't finish inside, can't jump, can't rebound.
I think he could
play basketball.
He could be a better Kelly
He looks
Olynyk.
like an NBA player.
I think he could be a better Kelly Olynyk.
So you think that wow, we've got Harrison Barnes could be a DeMar DeRozan, and Jonte Porter could be Kelly
Dallas,
Olynyk.
we got our standards have lowered. We just want to be competitive.
Who do you think is going to be the best big man in the draft, Shea? If you just like, who's the dude sight unseen? You're just like, I'm feeling this guy right now.
I still like Mo Bamba.
We could just call him Mamba.
I
don't think anybody says that name.
Mamba.
Mushes together. Yeah, I like just the way he sort of walks around. He feels like very slick. And I think that's what you need right now.
What was kind of curious is we got a question here from Matthew to Hearing on Twitter, which is about how much tanking do you think we're going to see next year? It's obviously a process by which, like, somebody like the Sixers were able to get possibly generational stars. Kev, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see a lot of teams tanking?
You know, I mean, it might not be as aggressive as it was this year, but teams are still going to tank. The odds are still better up top.
We
right?
should what changed? We should lay that out there. How did it change now? What are the new
I think it's
rules?
14% flat up top.
Or
I
like how
believe.
many teams? Like 5?
I think 3 up top.
So explain that. So like right now, obviously, all these teams go into a lottery. Does this limit the amount of teams that? What are the new rules actually do?
I think it means like the number one odds, like the bottom 3 or 4 are all the same.
So what we have
Right.
is the top 3, 14% chance. Then it's 12.5, 10.5, 9, 7.5.
Okay, so like
and
right
so
now,
on and so forth.
right now it goes
Interesting.
25%, 19.9%, 13.8%, and next year it'll all be 14%.
Interesting.
So there's no incentive to be the worst,
worst.
but there is incentive.
But
to
yeah,
be
if you were the
third
fourth worst team, you want to get to that third worst spot.
yeah, and
big
it was
time.
like I think a
Big
couple of
time.
days ago on Heat Check, were you guys talking about how like there was a couple seasons ago where like everybody, it seemed like a third of the league might start tanking or something like that. And I feel like maybe we're coming a little bit out of those clouds. Like we're gonna still get some teams who think, hey man, maybe we could be this year's Pacers, right?
Yeah, sure. Also, but if we're being real though, like some of these teams that quote unquote tank this year, they didn't tank super hard. Like the Kings could have tried to blow in more games. The Bulls could have, even the Hawks could have for that matter. Some of these tanking teams didn't even go that super hard with the tanking.
So you're telling me that the Kings screwed something up?
Yeah, by winning like eight of those games with Bogdanovich and De'Aaron Fox, who was just here at the Ringer Studios last week.
Shout out, table reads.
It sounds like we're getting close here. We got Woj and Billis.
Woj looks great.
Woj looks great. This is always the most exciting time of my year. Cassidy's talking to Jerry West, the recently signed a contract with the Clippers, I think, right?
Yes.
Jerry looks psyched to be here.
Is Grayson Allen going to get drafted?
Yeah.
He'll be drafted for sure.
Second round, probably. Unless maybe, like, the thing with Grayson Allen is, like, he looked like a first-round pick after his sophomore season. And then he just totally has fallen off since then. He needs to prove that he can shoot.
I would say he needs
level.
to prove he's like a normal person.
Grayson?
He's not going to, like, kick people.
That's actually a good segue from this question from Justin Christopher, and I know that you guys don't have dossiers on these dudes, but if you just had to guess, and this is not a bad thing, which of these incoming dudes do you think parties the hardest?
Well, that's a good question. Look
That's
at
a
this
great
list.
one. You know what?
Luca's got the Bengal Tiger.
Yeah.
I feel like the European guys go next level with the
Yeah,
partying
you know
because
Dario
like they
is
just
like Ibiza or bust.
yeah, it's like rubbing shoulders with like very very shady characters.
Yeah.
You know, like he's probably already in debt to some like weird mobster.
I'll say, like, I've talked to some of these guys at McDonald's last year. DeAndre Ayton is a pretty chill dude. He doesn't really care. I'll bet he parties pretty hard.
Oh, you do think he parties? You
His
can,
life-
you
yeah.
can party and still go to the Hall of Fame.
DeAndre's like, I'm 7 feet, I'm amazing, life is good. He's
James
just not
Harden
worried about
parties.
anything.
Who does? James Harden parties.
Yeah, nothing big deal.
James Harden parties?
Yeah, we're talking about partying players, and he's still a great player.
Are you kidding me?
No way!
Are you? Guys, stop! We have to write about this. We gotta do something. Is there stuff out there? What? Stop the presses. Stop them. Do we still
Yeah,
have
James
presses?
Harden parties. Everybody likes to go out and get dinner. It's cool. It's like it's basically Tristan loves to get dinner.
Jerry West used to get wet.
Yeah, but Jerry West came up at a time where it was like unfiltered cigarettes.
Right.
Like that was like yeah.
And then he had to go to his day job at Macy's. Like,
Yeah, right. He had to start driving to the next home game, the next away game. A couple more social questions. Jerry West is really giving a soliloquy here.
Yeah, you see.
What is the greatest moment in lottery history for you guys, not including the Ewing pick? Which I guess.
I gotta think.
I got one.
What's that?
When the Cavaliers won in 2014, and David Griffin standing up there with Dr. J and Mallory Edens, he just really fist bumps really hard. I mean, he was not afraid to celebrate that. That was great.
I'm still really into Pat Croce high-fiving everybody when he won the Iverson draft. That was a very important moment for my life. Anybody else have any draft lottery memories?
No.
How
Who
about when
makes
the-
the draft lottery memory? You two sound like the biggest nerds right now. I was excited about the time that I got excited.
This is very Spurs material right here. They've been good for
Yes.
35 years. It's like the draft.
You
What is
got
he?
one,
What's
Shea.
the draft even?
They got the number 1 pick for Tim Duncan.
Yeah, but that was like literally like that was in 1935.
Just so you guys know, it's #RingerNBA if you want to reach out and send us questions or comments. After the draft lottery, we're going to be doing a live mock draft with Kevin and John. So we'll have some idea of how you guys are thinking about where people are going to go. We are seeing Jay Bill as his best available players right now.
He's got Bagley at 2. That's very
This is for 6 through 10. So, just so you guys know, also, just to let you know, the Phoenix Suns obviously have the best chance for the number 1 pick, 25%. Memphis is second at 19.9, Dallas at 13.8, Atlanta at 13.7. Then you drop down to Orlando at 8.8. New regime in the front office in Orlando. Not a really successful history of drafting in the
I think
lottery.
they'll give
recently.
Kevin Clark a shot pretty soon.
They probably will. How are you feeling about the state of Orlando? They've got the Gordon contract coming up. Big draft pick for them.
They need more than just one player, which kind of brings me to where we were last year. Last year after the lottery, we did like takeaways. It's like, this is a good year to trade down.
Yeah.
This year I feel the same way. If a team like Orlando wins the number 1 pick, maybe your number 1 guy, you can get at 3 or 4. So you again try to think about trading down to a team that wants to move up and get more draft equity either this year or in the future. Because Orlando needs more than just one
Might as well
guy.
trade Harrison Barnes if the team is interested. We'll move him for the top pick.
How did Isaac do last year at the end? Like, do you feel like that was a step in the right direction for them, or is it hard
was
to tell?
just totally a wash year, I thought.
He
For the
got
entire
hurt.
team.
I mean, he got hurt.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that would really
Yeah,
suck
he's
for
hurt,
Isaac.
yeah.
That was a
Which is
real
kind of
bummer.
the issues, durability,
Real skinny
fatigue.
guy, yeah.
Who haven't we talked
Asthma.
about here? I don't think we spend much time talking about the Bulls, which are the sneaky sixth best odds to get the number 1 pick at 5.3%. A team like Orlando, several players away from being competitive. Is Chicago just a guy or two away?
It feels like they're building right now. They got Laurie. They got to build around Laurie. I feel like they're probably 2-3 years.
Did you like watching the Bulls this year, Shea? Were you into Zach, the late period, the late addition to Zach LaVine coming back from his knee injury? Chris Dunn?
Any Zach LaVine content I can get, sign me up for it. Sign me up.
Sacramento, I don't really know what to say about Sacramento. Like, I think that we were all really fired up about De'Aaron Fox. He's a very nice man. Came in and did a table reads about
great podcast
for Lady
yes.
Bird.
Yeah.
Great podcast.
Dragon Ball Z fan.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z fan.
Knows his video games.
Pretty much the bright spot in Sacramento.
Rides a Tesla.
And
Shout
he
out
is
to Elon
actually
Musk.
the Kings' representative tonight, I believe. But, like, what do the Kings need to do this offseason with this pick? They've got De'Aaron, they've got Buddy, they have about 8 7'2" guys. What are you expecting out of them this offseason?
Sacramento Kings, I think for them it's the type of thing where you need to think about what fits best around De'Aaron Fox. Fox still needs to develop his jump shot, so I do think you need to draft a guy that gives you a little bit more confidence if Fox doesn't get to the level you need to.
So, like, who would that be?
Maybe a Michael Porter type if they stick around in that 7-8 range. I like
Him and
Wendell
Harry
Carter for them
Giles, they
too.
could be great.
Is Giles ever going to play basketball?
They could be great in the hospital together.
I think Giles impressed in practices this year.
I've heard the Kings are really the Giles, actually. I've heard that. They're really excited about him.
I knew that was coming.
We should be getting some envelopes pretty soon. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these other teams that we haven't mentioned yet. How about Charlotte? Charlotte, James Borrego
luck.
from the Spurs coming out over there to coach them. MJ, is MJ the representative tonight for the Hornets? No.
It's just MJ's jeans.
It's just
a pair of acid wash jeans.
Jinkos.
Yeah, MJ's just an absentee owner.
No,
right?
it's Kupchak. It's Kupchak. New GM, new coach, same old Charlotte, or what does a mixed Kupchak team look like?
Their problem is contracts. They have $117 million in committed salary this year. 24 to Batum, 14 to Marvin Williams, 13 to Kid Gilchrist. I mean, come on now. Like they got bigger issues.
What's so funny?
Every time Kevin O'Connor says problem, there's no B or there's no B in it or E in it. Prom, PROLM.
He has some sneaky Bostonism he'll put in there.
Charlotte really has two of the greatest contract guys of recent memory in Nick Batum and Marvin Williams.
Really great signings.
Just incredible contract year work from both of those guys.
What's the worst destination? This comes from Nick's Effect on Periscope. What's the worst case scenario team for Ayton, Luka, and Trey?
I think for me, like Ayton, don't go to Sacramento. They just did the DeMarcus Cousins thing. Like he needs to be for structure. He needs like a veterans around him. Go somewhere where he has to play defense.
I would say Sacramento, but I think it's Memphis because Chris Vernon is on those radio airwaves, and the last guy he wants is DeAndre Ayton.
Why doesn't he like Ayton?
I have no idea.
I don't know how much Vernon really impacts things there, honestly. That's probably not a big concern.
He's the secret decision.
Where do you
maker.
think would be the worst place for Luka the Tiger Tat to go?
I don't want him in Philly. I don't understand why y'all would want him in Philadelphia if he's like just a slightly smaller Ben Simmons.
But he can play a little. He can shoot.
Yeah.
Well,
But he wouldn't get the chance to do what he could be in Philly.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be in a secondary
he
role.
He needs to not be secondary.
They put him in the Dario
Unless
spot.
it turned out Ben Simmons was the guy who couldn't get the chance to do what he did because of Luka.
because Luka was better.
I'm just saying, like, who knows?
Let's start throwing more bombs to Philly.
That
They
hurts my
need
son.
more chemistry issues. What they need.
What about Trae Young? Where do we not want to see Trae Young? Do you want Trae Young on the Knicks?
No.
But what if he's
You're
Steph?
you're on Trae Young. I feel
What
like
if
him and
he's-
Frank work well together.
What if
maybe.
he's Austin Rivers? I mean, like,
What if he's Jimmer?
What if
what if
Seth Curry?
yeah, what if-
First off, Seth Curry is good.
Yeah, he's a
I'm
good-
not here for the Seth Curry slander. I'm not here for it.
Seventh pick, Seth Curry. Good luck.
I mean,
Just not
like,
here for it.
in all actuality, I would not be super mad if they took Trae Young. You could use a score.
Yeah. Okay, some more questions from social. Which player would be ready to contribute to this year's Western Conference Conference Series? We talked a little bit about this before, but in terms of like, you were saying like a Luka, if he was on the Sixers, if the Celtics were able to get like a Jaren Jackson, I assume that would be like a pretty big pickup for them.
I would say the Bridges, both of them, could probably play right now.
Interesting.
Like they're both big wings. They can shoot it. They're smart players. I think they could probably play right now.
Boy711 wants to know which pick would the Ringer consider trading Fultz for? I don't think Is this draft so rich that you would give up on a number 1 pick to try it?
I don't know. Like, are you a psychologist? It's not a basketball thing. It's a psychology question. Like, you tell me you're the Philly guy.
It is a basketball thing, though.
No, but can you learn to shoot? That's psychological.
Sure.
So you're the Philly guy. Psychologically, where is he, Michael Phelps? What's your feel for it?
I feel like he just needs a summer vacation. He needs to get his
Go to
mind right.
Ibiza?
He needs to
Get
go
out
to
of
Ibiza with Luca.
I think Dario could take him to
Tjarks,
Ibiza.
have you
show him a
noticed
good
that I've
time.
been pronouncing Ibiza correctly?
With the correct.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas, man. I don't know how to
say it
say
like
it
a
like
dude
this.
who has thought about going to Ibiza before, but didn't go.
Like Barcelona.
It's really not just psychological though. It's also the player because even if Fultz has a jumper, you might prefer a Doncic, an Ayton, a Jackson, even a Bagley type over him anyway.
Right. We're still waiting for them to start opening envelopes. Cassidy Hubbard is talking to Adam Silver.
Some last-minute snafus with how to rig this.
Well, he's also just like.
Oh, it's been rigged months in advance.
Yeah, on desktop, you think it's good for
I think the league should rig every 3 or 4 years. Like, not all the time, but just enough. Because, like, some years, like, it's not worth rigging. The Anthony Bennett year, who cares? But, like, in a LeBron year, you rig that, for sure.
I'm for it.
You're
This is
up for
big
rigging.
business, man.
What should
Come
be
on.
but what's the criteria though? Like, how should we determine which team gets it rigged for them? Is it based on media market? Is it based on like
Media market and competency.
Yeah,
of
like the Knicks
team.
can't be rigged for it.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't
they're
rig-
done.
I agree. As painful as that is to say, I agree.
It's like if you're in a heist movie, the Knicks are going to mess up your heist. Like, you got to
Yeah.
have somebody who can do his job,
Right.
handle being
Keep
a
your
villain.
mouth shut.
You need
Knicks are the
good
guy who gets
villains.
greedy.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
bad villains.
Adam's
Authenticity
still
over
talking
everything.
here. We have a question from our very own Pat Muldowney. Realistically, which team is more likely to make it to the NBA Finals sooner, the Knicks or the Spurs?
Why do you do this?
Yeah. As soon as you said Knicks, it was the other team you were going to
This
say.
is the dumbest thing. I'm never speaking to Pat Muldowney again. Of course, it's not the Knicks. I mean, what do we even?
If James Dolan's there, did I make the finals with James Dolan as the owner?
I mean, if the Rangers are good, so there is like it's a proof of concept that he can own a sports team.
What do you think is the short-term plan for the Spurs? Because they've got to answer this Kawhi problem. Pop's going to be there. DeJounte's good. LaMarcus for life.
LaMarcus for life. DeJounte's good. They've got Pop.
Offer Kyle Anderson the max.
You keep Patty Mills. Keep splashing Patty Mills. And you have to trade Kawhi. If you trade Kawhi right now, you can get 2 or 3 players that will be okay. We could be the new Celtics. We don't need a superstar. We don't need a superstar.
You got one in LaMarcus.
We've got LaMarcus. We've got our rock down low.
We're just hanging out. Hashtag Ringer NBA. If you have any questions or comments about the draft lottery. We got one from Twitter. Steph's loading in. Mo Bamba to the Knicks to pair with Kristaps, Twin Towers. You see that working?
Yes, I see it working. That would work.
That'd be freakish.
It would be
to have
great.
Those guys.
I mean, actually, it would work because
Mo Bamba.
Porzingis will give you that spacing, and then you can really like play around with who's closer to the rim, and you've got a great rim runner in Bamba. That would work.
We also have a question here about whether or not from Psycho Dukakis, bringing back the '88 election.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. What do the Bulls do if Bagley's available?
I don't love the fit with Lowry Markkinen, to be honest with you. I think Lowry was a much better defender than really anybody could have expected. Gave him an F+ last year with that pick. But they need a guy who I think is better protecting the rim, that can better complement Markkinen more so than Bagley.
Here's the thing about Bagley. So Duke ran a 2-3 zone this year, and Bagley was lost playing it. Like, literally, your job is to stand there and look around, and it was, like, too much for him. It's taken him a while.
It's like we talked about earlier, Tjarks. So you can watch Bagley, and he's, like, just staring at a point in the floor sometimes, just not moving at all.
Yeah, it's like
Not
you're in a
different
zone.
stance.
It's not hard to play
Yeah.
defense in a zone.
But the Duke guys, like, even when we've seen them just like in very limited amount, like they seem pretty prepped for the NBA. Even in the last couple of years,
Like Jaleel.
Jaleel looked great.
All right.
but like Tatum, Justice had a pretty good playoffs. Is Duke gonna get into the conversation with Kentucky as far as being an NBA factor?
Duke's already passed them in terms of recruiting.
Yeah.
Guys choose to go every year pretty much these days.
Well, that actually brings me to a good question here. Who are we gonna be talking about next year? Who's on the
RJ Barrett.
And he's
Another
on Duke?
kid, yep.
Of course, Zion. I mean, everyone knows about Zion.
Duke, right?
Cameron Reddish, also at Duke.
Who does Kentucky have?
They have a weak class.
Yeah, it's not as strong.
Hold your head,
Kyle's losing it, man. Losing the fastball.
Cal should have taken that Sacramento job when he had the chance, man. I would have been so into it. And now I feel like the game's kind of passed him by. Like he's like everybody has got to be Brad Stevens chess master. We're almost here for the envelopes. A couple more questions.
The merch.
We've got a lot of merch here. We've got basically a body pillow with Ben Simmons on it, holding a cat. Got a Ringer T-shirt. Ringer.com/merch or shop. Shop. Ringer.com/shop. If you want to cop any of the fine wares.
Shout out State Farm, beautiful spinners.
If you call this phone number, it's actually Shea's cell phone, and it just goes straight to Shea, and he'll give you some life advice. Kyle Poland wants to know, as a Nuggets fan, we are very talented, but don't have a player who is tough. Who is the toughest player in the draft?
Jokic
So they're looking for.
Jokic is so tough.
You think so? Jokic is a little bit got
He's
that
off the
confidence.
court tough. I don't know.
Do you like the Nuggets, Shay?
Who likes the Nuggets?
Dudes from Denver and
That's
hipsters.
it?
Yeah, NBA
No, I don't
hipsters.
like the Nuggets.
You don't
I don't not like the Nuggets either.
Carmelo apologist. I loved that Carmelo Nuggets team, man. That was
was
like the Carmelo,
Martin.
Kenyon. Was Corey Brewer on that team? It feels like he should have been.
Young J.R. Smith.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Dr. Miller.
Before he figured it out.
Then George Karl getting like basically fired during the playoffs. That was
Wasn't Andre
incredible.
Iguodala being the mole? Like, that
Oh,
was,
yeah?
that was,
That's right.
that was a fun
That
time.
was incredible NBA content, man. When the Nuggets tore themselves apart in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, I wish we had Twitter. Well, was Twitter around back then?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's so long ago now. It's hard to keep
But not
track.
wasn't
like
even as good.
NBA Twitter. That wasn't
not full on
quite where it
NBA
is
Twitter.
now, yeah.
Flocka wants to know, #RunnerMay, what's the most improvable NBA skill? You often hear that shooting is the most improvable skill, but our guy doesn't buy it. Is it pick and roll play? Is it court vision? What's the skill that you think is most improvable when people get to the NBA?
I would say defense for like younger guys. Most younger athletic guys learn to play defense as they get in the league.
How about entry passing?
Whoa, that's specific.
Making a
Deep
young players don't know how to entry pass into the post. You got to learn how to do that.
Here we go.
Cassidy Hubbarth is about to start revealing the teams here, so we'll just kind of ride along with her. Jamal Murray
Wow.
is the Denver Nuggets
Plot
rep.
twist.
Jamal Murray is a kind of amateur karate artist. Did you guys know that? Martial
that.
artist? Yeah. Maybe he
Jerry
watches
West.
Cobra Kai.
Jerry West slowly morphing into an owl.
Where is Blake? Come on!
Mitch Kupchak staring into the void.
He's sweating pretty hard up there.
I like Mitch Kupchak, but he's looking a little Florida man.
Elton Brand!
Elton Brand.
He's the GM for the Sixers G League team.
Still making money from NBA teams.
Who's Rich Gotham?
Good
Celtics
question.
team
name.
president for like 2
Good name.
decades.
That's a cool last name. All right, so we're doing a little bants with Elton Brand. They got him sitting
Where's
next to the
Jamie
Celtics.
Gertz? What is happening?
Where's Gertz?
Where's
we
the
forgot
Gertz?
all about her.
Oh, they're talking to the
little
pick
bug.
swap people right now.
Oh.
That was such a bad play.
Shea, Alan Costa on Twitter wants to know, would you prefer one more year of Manu or the 10th pick?
One more year
Just some bizarre question.
of Manu, for sure. Yeah.
So it's basically Sexton or Manu.
Yeah.
One more year of Manu.
One more year of Manu.
I love you.
Give me that.
You're so
We
loyal.
don't need to win this year. Let's just celebrate one of the greatest players of our lifetime.
I got a good question.
I
from
bet it's
someone
going to
on
be a
Twitter.
terrible question, but go ahead.
No, it's a really good one, Jay.
Okay.
Well, what would have more trade value for the Sixers, Chris? The 10th pick this year or next year's Sacramento pick with no guarantee of what it's going to be?
I'm fairly certain it would be next year's Sacramento
I think
pick.
so, too.
He's going low on the Sixers.
That's
Bold. I'm going to
Scott
say on the
Perry.
Kings. A bold call right there.
Jason,
Yeah.
was that a good question? That wasn't a good question, right?
Nick G. All Nick G
See,
does
told
is
you.
get number one picks.
Nick G gets wet in these lottery streets.
He just is the king. He's the king.
I like the beard is working for him now.
I love it.
All I know of him is just what I've seen throughout the years at the draft.
Man, he's growing.
We've grown
Wow.
up with him.
Yeah.
It's good to see him.
He's got facial hair.
Brad Gilbert there thinking about how to crash the
considering
economy.
A question from social media: have younger Jeezy and Milton ever met?
No.
No.
One of these.
It's like
You?
That's like you had to wait 4 decades before Al Pacino and Robert De Niro got together. That's what we got
Two
going on
grizzled
here.
old dogs meeting at a diner
When we filmed Dog Heat
in 2049,
Yeah.
Blade Runner. Yeah. So Nick's here. We're moving through the history.
They're
of Nick
really
Goldberg.
dragging this banter out.
Oh my God, those bow ties are crazy. What is up? What's the story?
It's a Shark Tank item.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that?
It looks like it was made from
It's like
pieces of
is
the
that a
court.
propeller or something? You spin it?
Oh, he's
explaining
got
it
something
right
going
now.
on with it.
I bet it's from pieces of the court.
Oh, that's a great call.
That seems uncomfortable.
This is from pieces of the subprime houses that my.
We've also got Darren Fox up here.
a lot
for
of
the
players
Kings.
don't come at
Who,
Secaucus these
who do
days.
the Kings usually have as their rep? Because the Kings are in it every year.
Yeah, they've had Vladi in the past. They've had like strange.
Has Vivek ever done it?
Probably Page did it one year, I think.
Page did it. Is Page still involved in,
Yeah,
the,
he's
in the
big
Kings
time in
front
the front
office?
office, yeah.
He's obviously making big moves out there, Peja.
Unbelievable.
It was Dave Yeager last year for the Kings.
Dave Yeager did go up for the Kings. How's Dave Yeager feeling? Being the Kings coach.
Fox.
Pushed his way out to go there, basically.
What's up with that?
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I guess
we'll-
he figured he'd get fired and stayed in Memphis.
I think it'll go better for Coach Bud
When what?
when he goes to Toronto or Milwaukee.
Right, as
Yeah.
being like their next move. Looking back at the 2017 NBA draft
Wonderful.
when Darren got drafted.
And they're running low on content. They're
Hey,
really
Williams,
good.
great suits.
Is Jim Halpert the consensus #1 office pick?
Yeah, no question. It's Jim. Then it's a toss-up between Dwight and Roy, although I would go Dwight and then Roy, because Roy just got ate up on defense.
Oh,
He doesn't play basketball.
basketball?
We're talking about the basketball episode.
Oh,
Oh, Michael Reinsdorf.
Yeah.
that's a deep cut.
And then after them is probably Daryl, and then Lonnie. Yeah. And then Phyllis.
So Jeff Weltman.
Yes! Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I guess it's a big deal.
This is amazing. This is an actress who's from Twister. She was in Lost Boys. She was in Less Than Zero. She was in 80s and 90s Hollywood
I've heard of
blend.
Twister. I haven't heard of
And now she's married to Tony Wrestler, the Hawks coach.
I like we keep pointing out Twister. She was in there
Mike
for like
Finley.
7 minutes.
She
Hey,
has a pivotal
Mavs
role.
legend Mike Finley. Look at that.
She has a
pivotal
the
role
fine
in Twister,
beard.
though.
Look at this, very distinguished.
One of the
Sharks,
forgotten
does it kill
players
you
of
that he
the
got
late
his ring
90s,
with the
early
Spurs?
I'm glad he got one. I mean, we got one now. It's all good.
Yeah, right.
We're not haters like y'all San Antonio guys.
Elliot Perry. Now, was Elliot Perry one of the? So whatever happened with like that Robert Parra thing where he was going to maybe give up?
That's a good question.
No, and he was going to maybe lose the team, and like the minority order was going to be able to buy him out, but then he kept it, right?
Yeah, he kept it. There's a lot of para facts out there waiting to be uncovered. I feel like.
Robert Parra playing pickup against Tony Allen during the playoffs.
Yeah.
When Tony Allen had like a busted up ankle like 5 years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
right.
NBA ownership groups are interesting.
We're approaching possibly starting to get some envelopes going.
After a couple
Some
more
lottery
commercials.
5 more minutes.
And now we're going to talk to Jerry West again. Jerry,
Kevin,
What up?
at this point, where would this version of Terry Rozier go in this draft? I can't believe I'm asking Celtics
Like
questions.
at his current age.
Yes.
Late-
No, like, do you know that this is what Terry Rozier can be?
Oh. Probably late lottery, like 7, 8, 9, 10.
Higher than where he was.
At 16.
16.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe 10th pick, something like that. It's right in the same range as a Sexton, Trey Young, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander type.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I was kind of thinking about some of these guys who wind up floating down to that Terry Rozier zone. And
Will
it's
they
like,
trade?
and then you
Yeah.
work on it, and it's like, sometimes those guys can wind up being like more valuable than you think.
And you know what? I do think for a lot of those teams, sure, you want to gamble on the younger player that you perceive as having higher upside, but if you don't think that guy is going to be your point guard and you feel better about a guy out on the market, whether it's Schroeder or Rozier or somebody else, pull the trigger on a deal. Go with the guy
Yeah,
that you have
that
more
is true.
confidence
Like
in.
developing a young point guard is really long. It's not always worth it. Like sometimes just get an older guy and draft other positions.
Like a What, like a George Hill or something, or like?
Yeah, because like the Mavs have Dennis
Look at Zach.
We'll be bad for 4 years no matter what.
Shout out to Zach Lowe. He's in the building. This
Oh,
is
hey,
like,
that's cool.
This is what it's like inside the
Man,
room,
that's
right?
the party central.
Yeah, a lot of cool a lot of good hangs in there, I'm sure.
That's where James Harden
It's
goes.
Kiki, man. Yeah, right.
Kiki Vandeweghe, wonderful man.
Just a bunch of rich white men. We're just gonna
Just like
sit
here,
around
basically.
and watch them all.
Sakura on YouTube wants to know who's the best, like the best comparison for Aiden. What's the worst version of Aiden?
To me, I've been
What would
saying
the
he's got a
comp
lot of Boogie Cousins in his game.
Well, that's like probably a upside. What would be the worst
Good
version?
boogie or bad boogie? Yeah.
Just Boogie. Is he
Boogie,
good or
the
bad?
good or the bad?
Yeah, just Boogie, man. Who do you think is the worst case for Aiden, Kev?
Like Boogie post Achilles surgery.
Worst case Aiden is Kwame. Worst case Aiden is Kwame
No,
Brown.
Yeah.
That's the worst case Aiden.
Hopefully Boogie doesn't look like Kwame.
What is this?
I think we're
I
going
don't
through
know
some
what is
good luck
happening.
charms that we got here. Pat Williams.
Oh,
Doing great.
Is that Little Penny? Like a new version
That
of
guy
Little
looks
Penny?
real beat up. That
Patty
bobblehead.
Williams.
That
Doing
bobblehead
great.
is a
Pat
little
Williams.
bit rugged.
I did a radio show with him once before. Yeah.
Oh.
With Pat?
Yeah.
Well, how is he doing?
It's good. Good. It was a good conversation about the Magic last year.
Mose wants to know which prospect in this year's class is the best hang. So not necessarily like a partier, but actually just like you would want to rock
Luka
with.
Doncic. Any of the European guys, they know how to hang. They've been hanging with 35-year-old men since they were 15 in the great capitals of Europe. These
Yeah.
guys know how to hang.
Who would you want to hang with?
Grayson Allen.
Grayson.
Yeah.
Interesting. Grayson would get you into a bar fight pretty
I
fast.
feel like, I want to see him like knock a kid over.
I want to hang with Mo Wagner.
Mo Wagner.
He wants to hang with Kevin, so it works out well.
Here we got some Ernst & Young representatives. You may remember them from the
Goons.
La La Land
Yeah.
Oscars,
Right.
so they're killing it. Was that Price
they're doing
Waterhouse? I can't
Price
even remember.
Waterhouse.
That's
Those guys
Price
are great,
Waterhouse?
great henchmen.
I'm waiting for the
Accounting
Panama
firms.
Papers on Ernst & Young.
Shout out to Ernst & Young. They do my taxes. They don't really do my taxes. I'm just
I think
kidding.
you got to be pretty rich from them.
I just go TurboTax.
Yeah.
I just go. Yeah, I just go straight through it. Best hang, Tjarks.
I talked to Aiden last year at McDonald's. He is a really chill dude. He's 7 feet tall. He knows he's awesome. He gives you great quotes. He's a really funny guy to hang
These
around
guys
with.
hang out at
calls
McDonald's.
him-
a lot.
I know. I like that you
McDonald's
keep
all
calling him
American.
McDonald's.
The question is, does Tjarks hang out at McDonald's?
First off, shout out Donald's. Give me an endorsement.
McDonald's
there we
is
go.
fucking jumping.
All right, here we go.
Do it.
Denver Nuggets stay at the 14th pick. No
See?
change.
Tough.
Not
I
interested.
love when he gives them
Nobody
that real
interested.
big smile.
Let's go.
LA Clippers, so we're going chalk.
Yeah,
I like it.
so-
Jerry West,
Look at
tough beat.
And this is
And
the
now he
this
could-
is the Pistons
yeah.
one.
The
So
Pistons lost their
protected.
pick, right? It's gone. Yeah,
Clippers
it's
go
gone.
12 and 13. He's like, damn. Kennard.
Come on, Lukey.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so we can see if someone is.
Just,
Mitch
we're
Kupchak,
just in
no
order right now.
reaction.
So this is the one right here.
is the
Sixers
one.
Celtics pick.
Good.
Mikal Bridges. Damn, Elton looks salty.
Yeah, he looks
Rich
pissed.
Gotham's salty. He's not in Boston, that's for sure.
That looks like a smoking jacket that
Why
got
do they
shrunk.
sit in the same booth?
Yeah, it's weird. Oh, they are dragging this out, man. Are you kidding me?
God. And now,
So
Imagine Dragons.
They're going to do 9 through 3. Did you guys know that Dennis Leary was on Animal Kingdom?
he's great. He's great.
Do you watch Animal Kingdom?
No, but I watched Dennis Leary.
Any
So I'll
Dennis
watch
Leary
it.
show?
Any Dennis Leary show. The Sandlot, the Thomas Crown Affair.
Did you ever see Rescue Me? Did you ever see the one? I can't remember which one I'm thinking of, but it's like
No, I was just playing. I don't care about Dennis
Yeah.
Leary.
I've seen those.
I just
don't
know
need,
those two.
I don't need to see those because I've seen Bill Hicks's act.
Do you? While I have you here,
Yeah.
do you think maybe comedians are a little too precious about joke stealing?
I don't know. It's tough. It's their whole livelihood.
But it's like, relax, dog.
It's tough though.
And it's like, do you think you invented that joke?
It's
Probably not.
It's a tough thing. I think someone needs to manufacture a joke theft controversy. I think that's the next step because I think it's a good way to put comedians on. I didn't think about Carlos Mencia until it was like, oh, he's stealing jokes.
Yeah, and then he's like on Marin for like 45 minutes where they're like having this like
crying
existential
and
crisis.
stuff. Yeah,
I'll steal jokes.
Yeah, you should get mad at stealing jokes.
I agree.
I think you should get very mad.
Listen, when people steal
Cuss
my
someone
tweets,
out.
those
What would
people
you
don't
guys
live.
do if I quit the Ringer because all we do is talk about the Celtics?
Fair.
Then I started a stand-up career, but I only did Carlos Mencia jokes, and it was like performance art. Would you guys come
You've
support
thought
me?
about
I would
this.
definitely come watch that. Are you gonna have a Mexican accent? Are you gonna do that? 'Cause you gotta commit. You gotta commit. Let me hear your Mexican accent. Chris,
1000% no.
Let me hear it.
Do we? No, absolutely not. I'll do Bono. That's within. That's within it.
Sounds like
Do you think the Sixers will draft Mikal Bridges, sir?
Why are you yelling at me?
Because that's how my Bono goes.
But I want to hear your Carlos Mencia.
I'm not going to do that.
Why not?
He's German.
No, I'm giving you permission.
But he's German.
On behalf of the Mexican delegation, for the next 45 seconds, you can go nuts with a Mexican accent.
Yeah. Before we get back in, I'm not going to do a Carlos Mencia imitation. Denver has the 14, the Clippers have the 13 and the 12, Charlotte at 11, Philly has the 10. We're going to get 9 through 4 here. Then we'll get a couple more cool commercials.
No Knicks.
This is the Ringer NBA Draft Lottery live show.
There was a Fox News
presented
commercial?
by State Farm. Get an agent that gets you.
Here we go.
And we're back. We're back in the beautiful city of New York City.
Knicks coming up, Jason. How you feeling? You nervous?
We're not going to see them until much later in this selection show.
Well, we'll know now if they move up.
I'm telling you.
You're feeling good.
I'm feeling great.
Okay.
Let's go. Come on.
This is unbearable, man.
It's just
This
crazy.
is unbearable.
Let's do it.
What do you?
And
I have a
now,
question. Remind me to ask you a question when we have a moment.
Cool.
Because we haven't had any free time tonight.
Mark Tatum, man. He's
not Mexican.
He's
German, I told
Honduran.
Yeah.
I know these things.
Oh, damn.
Nick.
It's fine.
Thanks a lot, Holy Bible.
It's fine.
Thanks a lot. Holy
Scott
Bible.
Perry.
That's a Mavs Bible, by the way.
His
The Knicks have the 9th pick. Now we're waiting on the 8th pick.
Okay.
Cleveland.
Not fixed for Cleveland.
Okay. Okay.
Celtics.
tough beat for my
This is
guy.
big for Sacramento, man. They need this. They need this badly.
Here we go.
Yes. So that means the Kings are moving up.
Top 3.
De'Aaron.
Oh, De'Aaron.
Shout out.
So you come to the Ringer, good things happen, people.
the Ringer
De'Aaron
blessing.
Yeah.
The Ringer blessing.
He
Right,
said
so,
they didn't need a tank.
so Kev, what's going on here? The Bulls are in 7. The Magic are going to
Yeah.
pick 6. That means the Kings jumped up.
Yeah, so now that means Atlanta,
And
Dallas,
Dallas.
Memphis, Phoenix are the next order. So
Okay.
you were looking for Atlanta here. Wow. So-
Dallas.
You can't throw the Bible Tjarks.
Gertz has no clue in it.
Gertz is like, what? Who?
So Dallas moves down from 3 to 3.
Memphis at 4. Okay, so the 9 through 4 picks are going to be New York Knicks, the
Wow.
Cleveland Cavaliers, Chicago at 7, Orlando at 6, Dallas at 5, Memphis at 4. That means Phoenix,
Wow.
Atlanta, and the Kings are in play for the top 3 picks.
Yes.
This is exciting stuff. Automatically,
That-
Darren Fox and Jamie Gertz go to the Hall of Fame of draft representatives, along with Carlos Mencia and Dennis Leary. What are we talking about here, Kevin? What kind of impact does this make for the Kings?
It's significant. It's significant because this is their opportunity to get that superstar player that they absolutely
So you
need.
think, wow, we got a Kings fan
Oh my
in
God.
the wild. Riley,
Or this for good luck?
Riley,
You had a Rade bobblehead, right? That was the thing you were going to do?
I'm buying it. Yeah. Some eBay seller just made a sale.
Riley, I actually am really pulling for you here, brother.
Yeah.
I really, really want this.
They
for
need
you.
it.
I
They
think
need
I've
it.
watched this might be the 12th or 13th in a row, and every year it's like, no, we don't move up. We're just
Yeah, this is like a
we're
first
staying.
time, right? Yeah.
One year we moved up, we swapped with you, and now it's just like, oh my god.
This is pretty incredible stuff. Riley, you have to speak up because you're not on mic. But if you could have your dream pick here, who's the guy you want, not the pick?
It's got to be Luka.
Luka.
Right?
Okay. So you want to get Luka involved with De'Aaron, with Buddy.
Well, and it's Vladi too, right? Like he's gonna draft like the European dude.
Oh, probably.
He drafted a guy, Papianis, who no one even knew who he was.
Is there any chance
that's just
that-
his pick?
You gotta talk into Shea.
Is there any chance that
Yeah, right here.
Luka could do what Kristaps did and like try to angle himself to a certain team?
It's possible because he won't
we're
work
not
out.
talking
He's
right
going to
now.
be in the Spanish League playoffs before the draft. So
He's
he
not
won't
gonna
work out for anybody.
Any medical red flags with Luka? So
Not as far as I know, but I don't. I know him and Bogdan talk sometimes. They have a relationship.
What does that mean for the Mavs now? So the Mavs
I'm
dropped
very sad.
down.
I'm very sad.
So you don't think that they can get a quality player there?
I worry they'll draft a big man Carlisle hates, and the whole thing just go like Nerlens again. I'm very worried that happens
Well,
right
we
now.
gotta assume that Carlisle's their coach, right?
Yeah, he's the coach, but will he develop a young big man who?
No, but
won't
I
need
just
to
mean
be?
like he like almost unnecessarily came out and said that he was not interested in the Milwaukee job because there was like some BS rumors about that, right?
Yeah, I mean they're going to be bad for a long time if he's willing to deal with that. I don't know.
Carlisle is like kind of like a wasted asset though on that Mavericks team. Trade Carlisle? Can they get something for him?
I'd do it. I'd do it.
I'm thinking about the Bulls right now.
Yeah?
Sliding down to 7. Maybe they still get Bamba there. Maybe it still works out for them.
Maybe he might be there.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. We're gonna be doing a mock draft right after this, so you guys should stick around.
I need Jaren Jackson to 5 somehow. I'm making that happen.
Jaren Jackson's not gonna drop to the 5. Do you think?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But maybe.
Sorry, John. But who knows?
Okay, we're back for the top 3 picks. We're going back to look at some of the famous number 1 draft picks. Man, I remember when Jerry West lost the LeBron pick.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have these draft lottery memories like me.
How often did you watch the draft lottery, Shea?
Like twice by accident.
Because the Spurs were playing right
I
afterwards.
thought it was a playoff game. I turned it on. What is this? Who are all these losers? That's how I felt.
We're seeing LeBron's
Great suit.
snow
Great
white suit from the draft.
He's doing the Tom Wolfe.
He'll be playing next. Celtics Cavs coming up soon.
Let's go. Game 2.
Yeah, I'm over this draft thing now. Let's get the game going.
I'm sure LeBron's been there for like 13 hours. He's been doing push-ups.
Here we go.
Jamie Gertz, Josh Jackson, and De'Aaron Fox.
It's a great group.
Oh, who are we rooting for? De'Aaron, right?
Jamie.
I want the.
I'm rooting for
go.
De'Aaron.
We'll go with
Here we
Riley.
go.
Let's go.
Okay,
go
so
for
Mark
Riley
Tatum's about to
first.
announce the top 3.
Ooh.
Oh, Gertz!
Kings
Atlanta
versus
gets the 3rd
Suns.
pick.
This is the 2nd pick right here?
Yep.
Close but no cigar, but you could be in luck, man. So the Suns get the number 1 pick. That's what was supposed to happen
They're going to be
mathematically.
a fun team, man. Luka, Josh, and Booker together. That's going to be a fun team. I'm excited for the Suns. It's going to be fun to watch them.
So we got Phoenix with the number 1
Yeah.
pick, Sacramento with the number 2
I
pick.
think worth pointing out, Phoenix's coach they just hired was Luka Doncic's Eurobasket coach last year.
Well, we're going to get into that with your mock draft. We've got one more video to show you guys. It's relationship goals. Welcome to, this is the Ringers NBA Draft Lottery Live Show presented by State Farm. So get an agent that gets you. We have one more video to show you. Then we're going to jump over here and do a live mock draft right before
Can we get my guy Woj a lav mic?
this
What is
Cavs
up with this?
Celtics game.
What was not doing an infomercial?
NBA Relationship Goals is brought to you by State Farm. Get an agent that gets you.
Big money, big money, big money. What is happening? You ready for that NBA lottery? That's not how this works. You're the expert. I am, and I am super excited to talk about all these potential relationships that could blossom next season between rookies and really, really bad teams or really smart teams in the middle of a process. Let's start with the potential number 1 pick, DeAndre Ayton, who could pair nicely with Devin Booker in Phoenix. Ooh, I like that, especially because it's likely Phoenix gets the number 1 pick. Ayton would like that too. See, he needs someone like Booker who has consistently improved as a playmaker. Heartbreaker.
Going to pretend that didn't happen. Last year, Booker was a beast in the pick and roll.
Which is good for Ayton.
Exactly. At Arizona, Ayton popped after setting a screen 71% of the time, and he rolled 29% of the time.
And that should improve in the NBA with increased spacing.
Look at you! Now let's move out east to Orlando, a possible awesome landing spot for one of the most exciting players, Trae Young.
Ah, yes. Orlando needs that scoring.
Trae Young Sooners average 85.2 points per game, and only 5 teams average fewer than the Magic's 103.4 points per game.
Speaking of scoring, though, Trae Young led the nation with 27.4 points per game last season.
I have one thing to say about points per game. Yeah, basic.
Let me finish. The Magic have had only one guard score 20 points per game for an entire season since the turn of the century, and that player is Steve freaking Francis.
Yes, Young definitely belongs in Orlando.
Agree. Anyone else we want to pair up?
Well, we missed the most obvious one. Doncic in Philly, baby!
Okay, Chris, that's not happening.
It is happening.
Let me map this out for you. The Sixers own the Lakers pick unless it falls between 2 and 5.
The process!
Since Doncic is a consensus top 5 pick, the only way the Sixers can draft him is if they pick number 1.
Process!
And the probability of that happening? 1.1%.
Process?
It's still fun to think about. Like, Doncic would actually fit right in with his incredible passing.
And his average defense wouldn't matter because Philly has the 3rd best defensive rating in the league.
But again, it's not happening.
Whatever, hater. Either way, there are a ton of fun relationships to think about heading into this draft. It is genuinely so exciting.
Big money, big money, big money.
That's not how this works! Welcome to the Ringers NBA Draft Lottery Live Show. It's time to do a mock draft. We are presented by State Farm. Get an agent that gets you. We are here with our 2 draft gurus, Jonathan Tjarks, Kevin O'Connor.
What up?
Here's the big board. This is what we just saw in the lottery. Let's get into this mock draft. Tjarks, you get the honors. Number 1 pick, Phoenix Suns. Who are they going for?
I think the hiring of the coach pretty much said it all. They'll take Luka, his whole European coach.
Bong.
That's going to be a fun team, man.
Okay,
I'm
so
excited.
that means Josh Jackson. That means Devin Booker. And what does Luka bring to the team?
I just think him and Booker together, on the ball, off the ball, that could be a great 1-2 combination for a long time.
Lot of guys who can handle the ball, a lot of guys who can pass. Really a perfect modern offense.
You like it. You guys are both in.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, Sacramento Kings, they jumped up into this top 3. Who do you think they're going to take at number 2?
It's the other guy Phoenix should think about at 1, DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton, I think for Sacramento, you're building more positive chemistry there with a guy like De'Aaron Fox as your young leader. I think DeAndre Ayton can come in and be a perfect complement to Fox with his shooting and hopefully, potentially, his defense as that develops.
Okay, Devil's Advocate says they got a lot of big men in Sacramento.
Sure.
Is there anything creative that they could do here, either with a pick, or is that a number 2 pick that they might think about trading?
Well, how many of those big men are going to stick? How many of those guys are going to influence who you're drafting? I don't think so. I think Ayton and Doncic, in my opinion, are in their own tier above everybody else in this year's draft.
Gotcha. Okay, so number 3?
This really pains me. I want him on the Mavs. I'll put Jaren Jackson here.
Okay. Jaren Jackson.
I love Jaren Jackson. He's a great player. I wish he was in Dallas.
New coach in Atlanta. They've got Lloyd Price down there. What does Jaren Jackson bring to the team?
And I think the nice thing about Jaren
Kind of
Jackson,
like a Horford replacement.
well, you
right?
draft him and then he'll fit with anybody because you'll be alive for 3 or 4 more years after drafting Jaren Jackson. So he's a good foundational piece. Right now they have Taurean Prince, John Collins, Jaren Jackson. I think is a good front court of the future.
John Collins, famously Tate Frazier's number 3 pick last year.
Ahead of Jason Tatum.
Who do you think for Memphis?
I'm doing this for you, Chris Vernon. Mo Bamba! Not Marvin Bagley. Bamba, look, man, Bagley's a really good player, guy my boy Chris Vernon likes, but Bamba, rim-protecting center who maybe can develop the ability to shoot threes. I think he's somebody that...
Okay, Kevin, I'm curious. If they draft Bamba, does that mean Gasol's gone right now?
I don't know.
Does it not matter?
I'm not worried about
you just
that.
don't care?
It doesn't make a difference. If you can work Bamba in off the bench his first couple seasons, that could be a benefit for him when he doesn't need to be thrown out there right away.
Dallas Mavericks.
I think Bagley's the most talented player, but I feel like Carlisle will hate him. I'll say the Mavs roll a dice, take Michael Porter.
Michael Porter. Because I was going to ask if they maybe get a little Trae Young, maybe have another point guard.
Well, they already got Dennis there. They don't want two undersized guards.
Okay, so Michael Porter, gamey back, but a lot of upside. Kevin, who do you see for the Orlando Magic then?
You know, everybody wants Trae Young here. Everybody wants a point guard. I think it's Marvin Bagley. I think you're going with a guy who, I don't love Bagley's game, but his two-way upside potentially is significant. He can shoot threes. He can handle. If you're Orlando, you're taking a little bit of a swing here. But if he works out with Jonathan Isaac and Aaron Gordon, that's
so they'll bring Gordon back.
Yeah, super switchy, versatile team.
Chicago Bulls.
I think for the Bulls, they're in a weird spot because they wanted a big next to Larry, but the 4 top bigs are gone. I'm going to say they play a little safe, draft Miles Bridges. Give them a solid young wing to put around Larry.
Another Michigan State guy to go with Denzel Valentine, works with Chris Dunn. So you think that he's a good compliment for Laurie?
Yeah, I mean, Miles is a safe pick.
Okay. All right, so that makes Cleveland Cavs one of the most interesting draft picks in this lottery because of the LeBron question. Who do you see them taking?
Mikal Bridges.
Interesting.
Trae Young is a good person to think about here, but Bridges is someone who can help now if LeBron stays. Versatile 3-and-D wing who can shoot threes, can D up. They need that athleticism. Trae Young's hard to pass up, though, if LeBron were to stay.
This is fascinating, then. So now the Knicks,
a
couple of guys dropping. Trae Young.
Gotta do Trae Young now. So I think Trae Young and Frank are actually a good combination together.
This would be, probably potentially the most exciting backcourt New York's had, and I can remember Frank and Trae
since the great Stephon Marbury, Steve Francis backcourt.
That's right. Kevin, who do you have going to the Sixers?
This is a pure best player available pick. Wendell Carter, big man from Duke.
This is Kevin's guy.
I love Carter. I think he's like a Al Horford light type of guy. We talked earlier in the show how the Sixers need someone like that. I think Carter's someone who can be that third big in the rotation for the Sixers. And his Embiid insurance as well.
Is there anybody who's like the playmaking scorer who they needed against the Celtics that they would be passing on here? Is there anybody I should be upset about?
Colin Sexton,
okay,
perhaps, but with Sexton you're worried about maybe how his jumper fits in with everybody else too.
Who do you have going to the Hornets?
Oh my gosh, Charlotte. I'll say this, they'll flip it around. I'll say they trade Kemba and they draft Colin Sexton because Kemba's out of there.
Okay, Colin Sexton from Alabama going to Charlotte because Kemba's out of there. That would be another interesting storyline to follow over the summer is what happens with Kemba. And now a rare occurrence. I'm going to let each of you guys take one of these. Not often do you see teams with back-to-back picks in the lottery. Clippers, Jerry West. What's going to happen here, Kevin, with the first pick?
Troy Brown. Versatile wing who can play a little bit of point for you. I think Troy Brown will be an interesting fit for the modern NBA because he does everything right now except shoot.
Do you believe in a shot? What do you think about it?
I think he can develop into a solid shooter.
All right, with the second Clippers pick?
Let's do more trading. I think DeAndre's gone, so let's draft Robert Williams because DeAndre's going to move out of there.
Robert Williams for the second Clippers
pick. He's like an athletic center, rim runner, catches lobs, Clint Capella-esque kind of player.
All right, that leaves the last one to you. Denver has been looking for a star for a long time. They've got a bunch of cool, interesting players. Who do you see them taking here in the last pick of the lottery?
I'm going to give them another cool, interesting player,
okay.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I think Gilgeous-Alexander gives him another ball handler. Maybe he's a Will Barton replacement and somebody who can be
What
better.
about Will Barton?
No, you need to replace Will Barton, Chris.
Okay.
I think Gilgeous-Alexander, super versatile defender who can play some point guard for you alongside Murray.
Briefly, before we go back to watch the Cavs and the Celtics, winners and losers from the draft lottery. John, I know you're going to say losers, Mavericks. Who is a winner tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously the Suns. Suns by far. They look great now. This is perfect for them.
Okay. Kevin, winners, losers?
Winner, Chris Vernon, because they're in Bagley range. Also, obviously, the Kings, because they don't have their pick next year. Fantastic night for them, obviously.
Any losers?
Yeah, the Dallas Mavericks, Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I'm very sad right now.
It's a bad beat. We're going to get to go watch Cavs Celtics now. This has been the Ringers NBA Draft Lottery live show presented by State Farm. Get an agent that gets you. We have tons of NBA content. We'll have pieces tonight on the lottery. We will have NBA show on podcast all week. And the draft guide, which is getting updated and is your one stop for everything you need to know about the NBA draft. We'll see you soon.